Hi, everyone. It's Catherine and Siobhan. I'm here from Lipedema Simplified and Lipedema Project with my wonderful and brilliant colleague, Siobhan Huggins. Say hi.
Hello. Hi. I'm the research specialist. I had to think about that for a second. I'm the research specialist with the Lipedema Project. So I read a bunch of stuff and then I talk about it.
Yeah, but she does a whole lot more than that. Let me just tell you that Siobhan is one of the most brilliant thinkers that I've ever met. And it's so amazing because she looked at, well, I'm going to just do a quick version of this. When she realized she was having trouble, I don't know if this is editing. I mean, I don't know if this is actually recording because I just got a whole bunch of error messages.
Oh boy.
Well, no, we have some people. Okay, you guys, if you're there, let us know because I just got a whole bunch of messages in the back end that it says we're having trouble streaming to Facebook.
Oh boy.
It may be Facebook, and it's only all the Facebook. It looks like it's okay on LinkedIn and it looks like it's okay on YouTube. So why don't we just go ahead? If you are hearing us, please let us know. Oh, good. Okay, Truth Seeker 1712 says, I see and hear you. So that's good. So even if we have just a few people, that's fine.
Yeah.
Eventually the recording will happen. So, so Siobhan's journey, first of all, in discovering something she could do for lipedema before she knew she had it, and then finding out and exploring and being able to have a deeper understanding has been remarkable. Well, I'm touting your, what do they call, touting your horn.
Yeah. And this is still an ongoing process because I'm definitely still learning stuff and I'm working on a lot on stuff that I haven't talked about yet, but it's reaching a point where it's like, we need to talk about this with the community. So that'll be coming up in the future. But yeah, it's ongoing and I'm still adding stuff, even just to my own care and my own understanding and what I hear from the community. And it's so, I don't know. I want to say fun, but that sounds kind of bad. Um, but yeah, it is fun and interesting because lipedema is so complex and I like puzzle solving. And it's a very, very interesting puzzle.
I know, isn't it? It is the most complex puzzle because we're dealing with systems in our bodies that are so complex, like the lymphatic system, like the adiposity, the adipose, the fat tissue, like the venous system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the metabolism. I did not know until this recent bout that I had when I'm still dealing with the central lymphatic stuff. I did not know how integral lymphatic system is to digestion and
Mm-hmm.
to the metabolism of lipids. I'm sure you knew this. I did not know this.
I knew a little bit, but it was mostly when I started talking to Leslyn that I started realizing. Because, of course, I had read about, like intestinal lymphatics, and sure, you take up all the fat and you package it up and you send it out. But it's not until you come across something like lipedema where it's like, oh, this is actually really impactful and I need to understand because I don't know. I think the gut aspect is gonna get a lot more focus than we even realize now. And not just for lipedema, but other conditions that can impact the lymphatics. I mean, connective tissue disorders as well. I would hedge a bet.
And I had a session yesterday, and the practitioner suggested that I might look into mast cell activation syndrome. I'm like,
I've heard of that in passing. I don't fully understand what it is.
yeah. I'm like, I don't. It's autoimmune burp,
Mm-hmm.
autoimmune thing. I was like, I don't need another diagnosis. But anyway, I want to talk today a little bit. Oh, hi, Julie. You found us. I'm so glad you found us because something's not right with our Facebook connection. I got all these messages that are that it wasn't streaming to Facebook. We'll get it worked out. But anyway, Siobhan, I understand that you've recently started to add the going to the pool as part of your self care. Can you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, so as with me, there's a lot of things that like I take in information and there's like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then I completely ignore it. Um, and in this case, it was that I was in Utah with Leslyn because we were there for the meetup, and I was commenting about like my legs have been getting so much better from the work that I've been doing, but my feet are getting worse. So my feet are swelling more and more and more, and I know it's from gravity and it's from heat because it's been ungodly hot in Colorado recently. Not only that, but very humid because it's switching back and forth between high heat and then high heat plus storms. Horrible. And she had mentioned, like if you're wearing compression that's coming down to your ankle, it's going to add a little bit of compression that might make it more difficult to get fluid out of the ankle, or out of the foot rather. And then if you have anything else like heat, like gravity, then fluid might build up. So you should be wearing compression socks also. Um, and that was one of those, yeah, okay, and then ignore it moments because I didn't want to. But what had actually happened is I did order compression socks from Amazon because they have the ankle ones. I was waiting for those to come in. And then I had a couple instances where I actually had pitting edema in my foot, and that freaked me out. Um, and I did talk to my lymphatic therapist about it. She's like, yeah, it can happen. You should do something about it, obviously, but it's not like a catastrophe or anything. Um, and so then I was like, okay. So started wearing compression socks. Um, so that piece was handled, but then it was also like I really need to do something about all this heat because it's horrible. And I know heat is a really bad swelling trigger for me. And I knew there was a pool in the area, like reachable easily, don't need to like take a bus or anything to get there. So I finally caved because my lymphatic therapist had recommended cold soaks at the end of the day. And it's like, okay, on weekends I can go to the pool and that can be my cold soak. And it can also be my compression where I don't have to wear compression because the water is acting as compression.
Mm-hmm.
So I did finally buy a bathing suit. I don't like clothes shopping. I especially don't like bathing suit shopping. Um, But I did do that. And then last Saturday, I went for my first one. And it was actually really cool that I did it then because while in Utah, Miriam Bear has a neighbor who actually has a pool, and she kind of hosts like not like official aquatic aerobics, but aquatic aerobics. And so I got some ideas of movements to do because there's not like an aquatic aerobics class at the pool. So I did that. Long story short, I did that. So that's now part of my routine. I'm starting out with just going on Saturdays. And then once I'm used to that and feeling good about it, I'll expand into Saturdays and Sundays. And then my ultimate goal is Saturday, Sunday, and then at least one day of the week over lunch. And it's super helpful, is the thing. Like I put off stuff and then I start doing it. It's like, oh, this is actually really good. Um, and I found that some of them I can work my like abdominal muscles and stuff like that. So I'm getting some of the like chest compression, chest action stuff as well, which I found is really, really important for me. So, like holding onto the wall and then kicking and then putting my arms in and out like this gets the muscles in my chest so that I can get the fluid all of the way out. So, I have added that. I'm glad that I did. Probably should have done it earlier, but we can only do so many things at a time. Like, I was talking to my lymphatic therapist recently, and she was like, the stuff that you're doing with me is like a full-time job. And then you
Mm-hmm.
also have a full-time job. And then you also have a research job that is basically like a full-time job. She's like, don't don't worry about, not being able to focus on everything at once, because we all do a lot of stuff. We do as much as we can. So, one thing at a time.
And well done, because you've had quite a good relationship with your MLD person. And you've
Hmm.
done a lot of work and seen a lot of improvement that you've checked in quite a number of times.
Yeah,
Um,
and
that's really good.
so the interesting thing that I find is I started working with her in October of last year, and we're still seeing improvements.
Yeah.
And I find that super fascinating because she mentions like some of her other clients view MLD and lymphatic work as a short-term thing, like you only get short-term effects, but we're
Mm.
seeing tons of longer-term improvement, like almost to a year out at this point. And I expect that that's going to continue. I actually expect it'll be at least another year or two,
Hmm.
just looking at how fast things are going.
Yeah, which is wonderful. I know um, people have heard me talk about the pool for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it was the availability of the workmen, but my health club chose August to do the rehab of the pool. So the pool has been closed. So I called them today and I'm like, all right, when's the pool opening up? And they said this week. So Wednesday will be the first day. So I'll
Excellent.
be, I know, it's just is so good. You get used to it. You really do.
Yeah.
Um,
And it does, like, you wouldn't expect just going into the water and even like walking in the water to do as much as it does. But then, like, it's just that compression effect and the resistance of the water. It's actually a really nice workout, especially
mhm.
if you're not used to working out, because it offers some support so you don't have as much pressure on your joints. Like, I do have to be a little careful about some of the movements because I do have hypermobility and my knee started moving a little bit awkwardly. Um, but it is just so good on so many levels, and it's nice to just get out of the apartment because I'm a little
Yes.
bit of a hermit. And just being out and around people, even if I'm not talking to them, is also good for me.
And I just want to let everyone know I am so psyched. But we submitted conference abstracts for a very big conference in Berlin, Germany, for the first week in October. I think it's the 3rd to the 5th or something like that. And Siobhan had two of her abstracts accepted, one on keto for lipedema and the other one on labs for lymphatic issues. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's for lipedema specifically. But yeah, it's definitely a topic I'm interested in for both of them. And I think it'll be really nice to connect with other people in the space because I've definitely gone to a bunch of like keto and low carb conferences and stuff like that, but not actually like a lipedema conference. So this is going to be really interesting. It'll be fun to geek out with a bunch of people there.
Oh, yeah, really. And they're wonderful. It's going to be a fabulous conference. And Dr. Carmody will be going because he will be presenting. Drum roll, please. Yay. We have a paper that we've been working on literally for almost 3 years. as
Mm-hmm.
long as you've been working with us, because we brought you on to help us with this paper.
Yeah.
um, a case definition of lipedema, which is one of the core things that you need for research to be robust, viable, and very what we call evidential. So you want to have good, solid research. And
Mm-hmm.
so that paper is getting closer and closer to getting published. And so we're presenting it at a number of conferences. And
Yeah.
so it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And
And let me just say, like, working on that paper with the team has been one of my most fun research experiences. It's been so excellent to just work with this scientifically minded team of how can this benefit the community? How can we be scientific about it? How can we work through our own biases, because everybody has them, so that we can connect with other people, so that this is going to be the best that it can possibly be, and so that we can continue to grow as we learn more. The discussions that we've had while working on it, just, yeah, fun. I like working on it. It's so fun.
oh, it has been. It's been absolutely wonderful. And it's such a good paper, if I do say so myself.
I think it's going to be so good. Like, I love just like opening it up sometimes and looking at it, being like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
I know it is. So you'll all get, as soon as it's published, you guys, I will wallpaper the internet with, so you don't have to worry. And then I just want to make a sort of mini announcement, which we're about to make in a larger way next week. But you guys come, and so you get first dibs at all the news. But Lisa Dure, who has been and spoken at a couple of our conferences and has been a incredible support behind the scenes. She is the CEO of a company called RLD Group. She works with high tech companies, and she does a lot of work coaching and consulting within the high tech industry. She has lipedema. She came and she shared her story a number of times, and she's coming on board with Lipedema Simplified and Lipedema Project as our managing director. I think that's her title. Manage, is that it? I think it is.
Sounds right.
Anyway, it sounds right. And so we're all thrilled. And it's a process, and we'll be making a much larger announcement. But she and I are going to be doing, the reason I wanted to mention this is she and I are going to be doing a webinar next week. Um, is that true? Is it next week? It's the 24th.
Let's see. So that would be
In 2 weeks?
week after next on Thursday.
Okay, on Thursday. Yeah, because today is Friday. So 2 weeks from yesterday. Yep, that's a good way to say it. 2 weeks from yesterday. And one of the things that Lisa brings, which I find remarkable, I think, you know, she brings an awareness of the workplace and the challenges that women with lipedema face in the workplace. And so we've been talking about it, and getting a lot of feedback from women in the community. And we're doing just exploration as to how to be helpful. And one of the women who work with Lisa actually set up the disability program at Amazon. And so we're going to be talking to her this coming week to see how can we help our community in the workplace. So here is our link. I just put it. Randy just said, Siobhan, your shirt is great. Show everyone. It says,
Yeah.
if you're reading this shirt, I'm still keto.
Yeah, it's from Keto Strong. I believe the woman who runs it. I got this at Keto Salt Lake a couple years ago. The woman who runs it, I believe her name is Autumn, and I saw this one and I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, so good. So as you can tell, we have a lot of fun. We do amazing work, but we have fun doing that amazing work. And we have
Yeah.
amazing people on our team. So, all right, Siobhan, I think we're coming to the end. Well, how do you want to leave everybody this week? Anything
Um,
you want to add?
I'll mention a product that I like. Not sponsored, by the way, but I do see a bunch of people, occasionally people asking in the groups, like if they have any recommendations for like lipedema friendly protein shakes, things like that. So I will give a shout out to Keto Chow Core. I would have to turn my background off, but this is a
Oh,
big
I
bag.
can't see it. You have to.
Hold on, let me see if this works.
It could. No, it doesn't
It
because
does not.
it just
Okay,
totally
that
goes away.
kind of works. There we go. So basically, it is a kind of a protein shake, but it's actually a meal replacement shake. The reason why I like Core is because it is dairy free and it's sweetened with stevia. There's also an unsweetened version, and it uses beef protein instead of milk protein isolate. So the reason I mention it now is because it came back in stock and it's in big bags. So that has a little bit of a price savings compared to the samples. Also, at this point, I largely live off of it. So the more people who buy it, it's actually benefiting me because it means they'll keep making it.
It's called Keto Chow. I also have protein shakes. So right now, because I have some medical stuff going on, um, I just put it in the chat. It's Keto Chow. I have been having a protein shake and then one meal a day and then one fruit. So it's a very light eating schedule right now. Interestingly, it's not that I'm trying to lose weight, but I have some medical issues right now, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be doing an entire webinar on. So stay tuned. Not only me, but I have some central lymphatic dysfunction. So we're learning a lot about it. And we have a group of folks that are doing amazing work. Leslyn and Kelly Bell and his wife Jen and Amy Rivera, who has primary lymphedema, and Catherine Rosenberg, who is just a remarkable woman, cancer survivor, who's just miracles for her. So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll be doing something coming
And
up.
let me just say, I wouldn't be surprised if at a lower level, central lymphatic issues are more common than people think, because a lot of the stuff that you've talked about in terms of getting swelling in your arms when you're getting swelling up here, brain fog, issues when there are storms, for example, I experience a lot of that too. I don't think I have the same issue. My lymphatic therapist said I probably just have fibrosis in my torso, and that may be constricting lymphatic vessels and making it a little bit more difficult to get things out and more prone to swelling in the torso. It's one of the things we're going to work on at some point.
Mhm.
But I find it really interesting to know the signs and symptoms, because then I can look out for it in my own head as well, and I have some idea of how to work on it, like specifically focusing during MLD sessions, just day to day, in terms of breath work, in terms of abdominal compression, all sorts of stuff. So I find it super interesting, and I'm wondering how common it actually is.
Yeah, that's one of the questions that we've been exploring. We think it's way more common than is being even discussed or has any visibility.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that um, thanks to the work of Leslyn Keith and Kelly Bell, the National Lymphedema Network, that is called the NLN, is going to be featuring it in their conference this year in Philadelphia in October. So that's good. So I'm going to have to do a very quick answer because we have a coaching session starting in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So um, Enviro Girl 18 asks if we use vibration plate. How do you use it? How often and at what level? So I have a Life Pro. I do use it. It helps. I sit and just put my feet on it, and it goes like this. for 10 minutes. And sometimes I put my body on my legs and then it does this for my whole body. I did a whole demo of it one point, and we'll do a demo of it again.
Cool.
Can you do a 30-second answer?
I do not have a vibration plate. It's one of those things I have in my backlog of stuff to add to my repertoire. They can cost like $100-ish, so it's not something I can be like, oh, impulse purchase. But I am interested in it. Another really good person to ask is Gail, because she has like tons of tips and tricks and things to look into beforehand. She's talked about it a little before in previous episodes, lives.
Yep.
But yeah, when you see her pop up again, go ahead and ask her because she has tons of information on it.
And yes, and she uses it very frequently. And just to let you know, Gail is she has been on vacation. She came home, and now she's off because she's part of the Sweet Adelines. Is part of a chorus. I think it's called the Sweet Adelines, and they have a weekend event. So she is off there. So wherever you are, Gail, we miss you. And Leslyn just got back from teaching a group of lymphedema therapists. She was away for like 10 days, 2 weeks. And she's not feeling up to par, but just send her your vibes. She'll be fine. And and so Siobhan and I got to do it, which I
Yay!
loved. So good. Thanks, Siobhan. All
Yeah, it
right,
was very fun.
everyone. Have a fabulous weekend. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And thanks, Siobhan.
Yeah, and thanks, Catherine. Bye.
Yeah, this was fun.